Hi, Kristy. It's really nice of you to join us today. I thought we could have a chat about the Family Solutions Working Group, which I think we've both had a read of.
Yes.
What was your first thoughts when you saw that report?
I was so excited because I really think that it encapsulates the way that you and I work anyway, and how it's just so child focused, which is really important because I think they tend to get lost initially when we're talking to separating parents, and how really it is putting them at the forefront of all of this and making sure that they have a voice, which is so refreshing.
It is, isn't it? I totally agree with you. I was excited as well. And it was nice to see things that I think you and I have both said in the past actually being written down, wasn't it?
Yes, and sort of saying that this is a framework that everybody now needs to follow, ideally, and really trying to get like the cultural shift, I think. And it seems like the government and the big wigs are now really behind this and want this to happen.
Now, you and I are both collaborative lawyers. We're both mediators. Why do you feel that's so important, especially at the moment?
Well, I think that it just gives the parents and the child to a certain extent, but the child through the parents, some control. You know, their world is falling apart if there is a separation. And research shows that knee-jerk reactions to court, people often afterwards say, I wish there'd been another way. And I think that that's where you and I come in, and all professionals, to say, look, these are your options, this, and give them lots of legal information. I think we want to help, don't we, and fix things. And I think often you want to sort of give advice, but actually at the initial beginning, it's just information so that they can choose what option suits them.
In the Family Solutions Working Party report, they said that all children over 10 should be given a voice. And you've already touched on including the children in that. Do you think that will really help the collaborative process to be able to include the children in that way?
Absolutely. I mean, both you and I, we're child inclusive mediators anyway, so we have the skills for that. And as collaborative lawyers, we can use those skills, and sort of explain to parents how it's so fulfilling for a child, not just now, but long term, to have a voice and incorporate that. I think we'd have to really look further as to whether it would be as the collaborative lawyer that we take part in that, or whether it's a referral out to a family consultant or a child inclusive mediation for that piece of work, and then it's fed back to us in the process. But I don't think that it can really get much better than having that holistic approach, which is the whole purpose of the report, isn't it? To try and do everything, one-stop shop sort of thing.
I totally agree. And I think, children really enjoy it, don't they? They love giving their views. And I think it's so important for the parents to hear their voice and hear their views. Doesn't mean they have to do whatever they're being suggested, but it is nice for the children to be involved.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, like you said, it's not for them to make the decision, is it? It's for the parents. And I think the only tricky thing is siblings and how that's worked if the siblings are younger, and how we would look at that. But we have those kind of queries, don't we, in child inclusive mediation anyway. So it's nothing new. It's just working out what's best for that family at the time.
The courts obviously are trying their very best given the COVID situation. But I suppose one of the things that I've been thinking is this is probably even more important to offer to people now than the risk of them getting caught into a court system that is doing its very best in the circumstances, but is,
Yeah,
as like everybody, dealing with COVID.
I couldn't agree more, Claire. I think you're right, because I think that people, like I said, maybe can't access legal information or legal advice, and therefore their knee-jerk reaction is to issue at court. And then with the delays, these families are in limbo for such a long time. Whereas we can offer that, especially as a local group, if we can look to offer a solution that could be quicker and more effective for them, and I think longer lasting. I'm sure you find in mediation and collaborative that if they've invested the time into the process, it's more likely to stick and stay for as long as needed, really.
Yeah, I agree. I think all agreements that you reach yourself have such a better chance, haven't they, of lasting.
Exactly. And I think, we have the time, don't we, to give to these families. We have more time than a poor judge that's got a listing as long as his arm, and they've got 10-15 minutes and perhaps haven't got the time to look at every single piece of paper that's filed. I think that we can give a better understanding and more depth to their decision.
I totally agree. Thank you ever so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. It's nice to see you.
And you, take care. Thanks.
Take care.